Hello everyone. Welcome back to another Unqualified Commentary.
Howdy
back
doody.
With our hosts, Alligator Connor and Alligator Nathan.
We can't both be alligators. We can have... Okay, back with your host, Alligator Connor and the Nathan Copter. There we go.
I was going to say Crocodile Nathan, but I guess that works too.
Well, you know, the two... The crocodile isn't, like... The crocodile's a poser animal, you know what I mean?
You take that back.
I will not take that back.
You take that back. It's one of the OG dinosaurs.
What do you
mean, what do I mean? Crocodiles and alligators have been around since, like, the Cretaceous period or something.
Yeah, but, like...
They're, like, several million years old.
But what have they really done? You know?
What have we really done?
Well, we've started another episode of Unqualified Commentary, which it's been a while since.
And you know what? If I gave an alligator Audacity, I reckon he'd probably be able to do it accidentally.
Somehow I don't think so. So, viewers might be thinking we're about to talk about Loki, but we're not. That's just
those viewers would be fucking stupid because the show's not finished yet at time of recording.
Time of record. Well, these don't take long to edit, so almost definitely at time of release.
Yeah,
as well.
So you're stupid. Anyway.
Yeah, so Bo Burnham released Inside recently. We aren't allowed to talk about it because we respect what he does. Unlike a lot of the people on TikTok, and we're not going to lambast we're not going to bog down that piece of work with our needless criticism. But what we can do, and I'm proud of this workaround, is we can review his
indirectly talk about it by talking about his other work.
Oh, I wasn't gonna indirectly talk about it, but if you wanna. What did you think about Naked Bo Burnham? Don't answer that! Too many people have been obsessing over Naked Bo Burnham. I think that's weird.
It was a bit of a thirst trap, I'm not gonna lie.
I don't know, that beard got in the way. Anyway, so, I've been a Bo Burnham fan since,
Another one part of the, shave or get out of my face crowd.
I like women, man, and most of them don't have beards, so you'll forgive me if...
Conchita is the best part of Eurovision every year consecutively.
Vegeta?
Conchita.
They have Dragon Ball at drag shows now? That's awesome.
No, Conchita worst.
Alright, but yeah, no.
Oh my god, their last name's worst.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Alright, so I've been a fan of Bo Burnham since, so that's 2013, so about 8 years now. Nathan,
I've been a Bo Burnham fan since his clips started appearing to me on YouTube.
Honestly, actually, you know what? I think that's technically the same for me. I think his Vine about, the one thing that's better than pussy, I think that's technically the first thing of his I've ever seen. But the first time I acknowledged
the first Bo Burnham shit I ever saw was, I think something you showed me, and then I got other stuff recommended to me on YouTube.
Did I show you his stuff at any point? How long ago? What are you referring to? This?
I think I remember being shown Kill Yourself, and I thought that was pretty funny. So yeah, I watched other stuff of his. That's a decent
song. I like Kill Yourself. The whole Make Happy special was fantastic. But yeah, so I'd watched Inside, and I'd never seen 8th Grade. Up to that point. So I managed to see Inside before I saw 8th Grade, because every time I checked, it was not on any of the streaming services I use. And then one day, fucking Nathan, honestly, I swear the universe and him just have a bet going on about who can annoy me first, because, I looked at Netflix and it was right there. What are you talking about, you fucking idiot, man? It's like, I guess I'm a fucking stupid person then. So now I've seen it as well. Now I've seen 8th Grade. I saw it 3 days ago. And I have to say, it was really good. I really enjoyed it. Having said that,
oh boy,
I prefer it when my media doesn't psychologically assault me the way that it did.
I prefer it when I'm not on the television, I'm gonna be honest.
So, in preparation for this review, I've prepared myself a drink that I thought was appropriate to have during a conversation about a high school setting movie. So I got myself
Warm milk and cum.
I got myself a Woodstock bourbon.
That is not where I thought you were going with that, to be honest with you.
Well, nothing screams high school more than, childhood alcoholism. So, yeah, it's quite an imposing bottle. It's very large. It's 660 milliliters. I'm taking a video of it right now. I'll put it up. Can I get it to focus? No, I can't, because I'm not good at things. Oh, there it is. I couldn't even find where it was on the label. Focus, you bitch.
Your camera work inside isn't very good.
Forget it. Camera work is for Bo Burnham's. Wait, what was that? It's not very good, did you say?
I said it's not very good. Your camera work inside is not very good.
Oh, I thought you were insulting my baby. I was about to get very annoyed. I'm not actually. No, I take that back. I'm not going to be one of those dickweeds. So yeah, for those watching along, I suggest that you play a nice, fun drinking game with me. And we can drink along with What's All This then. Now, the challenge is to take a drink every time you're reminded about how much your high school experience made you want to kill yourself. Oh, time to drink. Oh, that's smooth.
Now, as much as I love mass market appeal, I had a fine high school, so I wasn't. It was more for me, the bits that stung were more like the smaller social interactions, where it's like, looking back on that, I'm like, honestly, this is fine, this is just normal, but like, actually, like, watching it, it's like, ow. You know what I mean?
I think 8th grade does have that, particularly with the last scene involving the main character Kayla and Gabe. There's a particular joke which is going to resonate with teenagers, but adults would look back on that joke and, sort of facepalm at themselves. But that's okay. You're allowed to do that. I know you did. I heard about that joke before I heard anything else about the fucking movie.
Because it hit me like a fucking brick. Because I wasn't ready for it, because I'm like, I don't know, the movie was kind of like, for me, like, in my head, I kind of pictured it around, like, maybe...
It's a Rick and Morty reference, I should say.
It's like, yeah, it tracks it, I think it tracks being 2015. Like, that's where the movie was set in my brain. But
yeah,
then, like,
I see that, yeah.
But then, like, when he brought up the Szechuan song, I'm like, oh, wait, hang on, I'm old.
No,
this definitely makes sense. This definitely makes sense for it being, 2018.
Season 3 of Rick and Morty, that was... Jesus, yeah, that would have been, like, what, 2016?
Season 3, Rick and Morty.
I know it was while I was in high school. Season 2 was in 2014.
2017!
Was it really 3 years? No wonder people were so excited for Season 3.
And it was the start, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was the very first episode. It was the blowing up of the council.
Yeah, April. So that's actually, like...
The Rick Shank Redemption or something like that.
That's actually quite a quick thing to whip into the script.
Yeah,
I respect that. Huh?
Well, I mean, Rick and Morty was, like, everywhere back then.
Yeah.
Like, it still is a little bit now, but it was everywhere. Anyway, that's enough of a tangent on that. But yeah.
It's an important tangent, though.
I mean, yeah, like, references to popular cultures are going to be a part of every, like, childhood. But as for my high school experience... my high school experience was, for the most part, fine. The last year of it was kind of dumb, but that was because I was a stupid human, not necessarily because of high school itself. I struggled with primary school, though, the early years of primary school. So there were certain interactions that, like, in the movie, like, for example, the pool party, that brought back some memories that I wasn't so fond of.
The pool party, for me, was like, I felt like I was being stripped naked.
Well, I do think they make a point of, like, showing that side of it as well, because of the way Kayla, who is the what is she like? She would have been like, what, 13-year-old protagonist? Yeah, when she before she steps out into the outdoors in a, like, bathing suit thing, she does quite clearly hesitate and, like, ooh, I don't want to do this. I feel
it was the point where I actually said to my boyfriend who I was watching it with, I said that I'm like, this girl's actually a really good actor, Because you
yeah.
can feel the anxiety in the way she walks down the steps.
Yeah, she's fantastic. She did an excellent job. There was a lot of really good performances in this. Not all of them from the children. Some of the children were a little bit meh, but none of the children that actually mattered. But yeah, for the most part, they were good performances. Bo Burnham, I don't know if he did the casting or if he hired the person that did the casting, but he did a good job there. The dad was really good as well. The dad did an excellent job, coming across as awkward but still well-meaning, and you can kind of see how his behavior, helped develop the way Kayla acts as a teenager.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we should probably summarize the movie before we continue, analyzing it. So it's, if you don't know, 8th Grade, it's a movie by Bo Burnham. It's about a young girl by the name of Kayla, who's in her last week of 8th grade.
High school.
Well, no, actually, no. That would be
middle
senior
school.
year, middle school. Which for us, high school.
Hate Americans.
I do as well. We're Australians.
Hate them.
In this country, 8th grade is the start of high school. My 8th grade was pretty good. I mean, the start of it was kind of miffy because when I moved schools, I didn't know anyone, but I made friends quickly. My 7th grade, however, which was the last year of primary school for us, which I guess would be the Australian equivalency, that was a really good year for me. I was very popular in 7th grade, but I wasn't in pre-4th grade. Actually, no, pre-5th grade. I did okay in 5th grade, so yeah. I was popular.
Nice.
I was popular in high school, and
We're proud of you.
Prove it. Thank you. But yes, no. But yeah, and she is a vlogger. She vlogs herself and uploads it to YouTube. And anybody who has seen movies where the director is trying to be in touch with what the kids are into these days, but clearly doesn't get it, and for people who know how cringe a scene can be when directors are like that, this film's not like that. The vlogs both come across as very realistically shot and acted, while also actually having a point in the film. They're a good representation of what Kayla wants to see from herself, but doesn't quite get there yet.
It's kind of like
it's cute. Yeah, it's cute. Anyway, yeah, you go on.
I kind of see it like as like her mental flag points during the movie, so you can kind of track how her mental's going through the vlogs.
Yeah, where she's at.
She's trying to pass it off as how to help others, but a lot of the time you can really tell that she's just kind of using it as a very vague journal.
Yeah, no.
Which I think is that's a lot of what vlogging is for most people. Well, that's a plus rep for the realism factor of it.
Well, and also just that, and kids that they grow up on the internet now, and I grew up on the internet, and I know what that's like, and it can instill a sense of digital attention becomes important to you. I mean, I should know. I'm currently vying for it right now. And when you're a kid, that kind of gets blown out of proportion to, where now, as adults, we make videos on the internet, but we do it for fun. It's fun. I like making these.
Seeing 0 views is, that's a poggers right there.
Hey, seeing 0 views on a video that you had fun making doesn't, that, honestly, just makes me happier. Exactly, because there's a sort of sense of, congratulations with that, and I like that. I'm proud of that. But when you're a kid, you just want friends, you want to be socially accepted, and the internet is now grounds for that. So I think a lot of young people can definitely identify with Kayla in a lot of ways. Also, just the fact that she's not a massively successful, social teenager, which a lot of teenagers will probably be able to identify with. I did okay socially in high school. I did okay socially in primary school, but I still can relate to certain interactions she had. That moment where she's giving a letter of thanks to the popular kid at school, that one resonated with me because I never knew how to, because I'd been invited to parties I'd known I wasn't meant to be going to. It's just the parents told them to be nice, and I know how that feels. Nobody wants that, because you know what it is. It's the pity invite. Nobody wants the pity invite.
No.
So yeah, I could resonate with that. Although it did make the moment at the end of the movie where she yelled at that girl all the more satisfying, and she just stands there silently. It's fantastic. Was there any moments of triumph for you in the film, Nathan?
Moments of triumph in the film.
Just something.
Yeah, I'd say the her yelling at her was pretty good, but I'd say I think her opening up to her dad was really nice as well.
Oh, I love that scene.
She's very cagey the entire film because she's a teenager. So her, like, kind of opening up at the very end is, like, it's quite nice, because it's like, if there was any moment, where he needed to dad on her and just force her into opening up, and then also she should have opened up, that was the moment.
Well, I'd say that, like, but I think the good thing about it is that there's no real need for him to force that interaction. It kind of just happens naturally, and he really handles that with the grace only a dad could muster. Which is sweet, because, I mean, I didn't have very emotionally honest parents, so it's nice. I like seeing that getting represented in film, because I know that, I haven't been a part of that personally, but I know that there are great parents out there who know what they're doing, even when they don't know what they're doing, and that was a really good reflection of that. Fucking respect your parents, dude. Unless they're cunts, in which case, fuck them, they're jerkweeds. But if they're nice parents, they're doing their best. That's been the.
They know as much as you do.
Yeah, man. Oh god, I don't know how I'd be as a parent. I think I'd be mortified the entire time. But yes, other things that the film touches on in terms of topical, like, teenage goings-ons, is how their interactions with the internet and their own growing sexual identity. That I thought that was handled really well by the film as well, because that's not an easy subject to broach. Nobody wants to talk about kids and
no one wants to film child sexuality.
Yeah,
because you don't want to be that guy.
That's why most of it's done in cartoons. Is because, like, you can kind of, you can fantasyify it. I guess you can make it more wholesome than it actually is.
You put an extra layer of it between you and yourself.
Exactly. Yeah, and you can
both as a creator and a viewer.
Yeah, but yeah, no, there's a lot of very hard to watch scenes. One in particular was, and this is amazing, the fact that they're, like, we grew up in Australian private schools, so to see a school shooting drill, that was new for me. I don't think I've ever been a part of one of those, because we don't get those here. So yeah, there was a scene where they were in the middle of one of those and everybody was hiding under the desk, and Kayla just decides, oh, I'm going to go talk to the boy I fancy. And that conversation eventually turns to discussing nude pictures that she may or may not have taken of herself. And that is, our understanding of the character of Kayla is that she's quite an innocent young girl. So that's very hard to watch, that scene. Just because it's like, I can tell she's not ready. I can tell she doesn't mean what she's saying, and I want this to stop. But I think it's important.
It's her just, like, trying very desperately to get the attention of the hot guy by, like, literally any means.
I think it's less. I think there is an element of that, but I think it's also just that thing that kids do of wanting to act like adults without knowing how, and that comes across really well. Particularly, there was I believe I messaged you in the Discord while I was watching this scene where she goes home after that and she YouTubes how to do a good blowjob, and there's a million of those fucking videos on YouTube, and most of them involve a banana. So she decides to get a banana herself to try it out, And she's doing it in the kitchen. Well, she starts to do it in the kitchen. I was just thinking to myself, oh god, not in the kitchen, you fucking idiot. What are you doing? And I think I just messaged you, Kayla, for fuck's sake, take it into your bedroom. And then, yeah, of course, the dad walks in and it's hilarity ensues. That bit was actually quite genuinely funny. Even if the setup was a little obvious. But still, that's a good scene. And in the seriousness of it, though, it does lead to one scene in particular that I think it's good that exists now, because I think people need to talk about this. The scene in the car, Kayla hangs out with a bunch of high schoolers due to
high school, like the kids go to high school to get a feel of what it's like. They don't do it over like in Australia, but they do it for like universities. Like they'll take year 12 and 11 kids to like a university for a day to say like, here's what it's like.
Yeah. Although at university, at least with the one that I went to, they don't pair you with someone.
No,
they just have you hang out with groups and talk to like lecturers and what have you. And I mean, you know, those are all right. But yeah, no, sorry. And the lady that she gets, the girl that she hangs out with from the high school is a really nice and sweet girl. It's like Kayla's first real victory in the movie is that she just gets someone nice and understanding. Nice. Yeah, because everybody else has just been a jerkweed up until that point. So she invites her to hang out at the mall with some of her friends, which is a weird thing to do when you're 18 and you're interacting with a 14-year-old. But, you know, I could still see it happening.
Yeah. But yeah, it was just like, what's it called? Because she actually, like, raw dog phone calls Olivia.
Yeah, the high school student,
and just, yeah. And then I can imagine, like, from the way Olivia spoke to me, it was like she was kind of already trying to head out the door. So I imagine it would have been one of those, oh, you know what, like, why don't you just tag along? Like, I don't think it definitely wasn't malicious on
God, no.
schoolers part.
I was, my reading of that was that she could see what Kayla was going through and was trying to help her in any way that she could. And to her, that was showing her what, like, a normal high school friendship is supposed to look like. So yeah, they go to the mall, she meets some of her friends, and like after that, everyone's getting dropped off. And the last people in the car is Kayla and one of Olivia's male friends named Riley, and they play a game of
Olivia knew. She literally said like, drop Kayla off before me. Like, Olivia knew.
Yeah, but I think it's that thing of like, you know, it's a male in a car alone with a young girl. But the fact that it was a friend of hers, I think, made her drop her guard in terms of that.
Yeah.
So she didn't think to have to be protective of her. But yes, that was a mistake on her part. And like 18-year-olds aren't infallible, so again, I buy that. But yeah, no. So they play a game of truth or dare in the backseat of the car, which goes about as well as you can expect. And when Kayla, expresses discomfort, he yells at her. She apologizes and goes home and cries. And I think it's important that shit like this is talked about seriously, because I think the movie actually kind of acknowledges that we don't really talk about it as well, because there's an earlier scene where you can tell Kayla's in the middle of like a sex ed talk, and yet she's completely unprepared for any like real situation and where she has to decide for herself whether she's, sexually ready or not.
Yeah.
And yeah, no, she apologized. She didn't know what she was doing, which is a problem. Like it's insulting that we have classes that deign to call themselves sexual education that you can't really learn anything important from. It's just the biology of it. And don't get me wrong, the biology of it's interesting, but that's a science class, Sexual education.
It's a nerd thing to be interested in.
I wouldn't go that far, but I get that's
You're
distracting.
Right,
Shut the fuck up. That's detracting from the point anyway. But like, kids should be taught how to deal with these situations, because they happen more than people want to admit. But yeah, no, so that was probably the biggest gut punch in the scene. And Riley's actor does a really good job of making me want to punch him in his stupid teenage face. Because I've met Rileys and they're jerks. Although having said that, to the actual Rileys I've known, you guys have all been okay. So I
you guys are all right.
Yeah.
Don't come to my car tomorrow.
Oh God. But yes, no. Yeah, no. So so I think the movie handles that topic with a grace that I haven't really seen in any other movies. What are your thoughts on it? Did you resonate with it at all, or?
I've never personally had anything like that attached. What happened to me? I found it's like, I feel like a lesser movie would have just had the character like Kayla been raped.
Yeah, I agree. Like, that would have been too far for the movie. But you know that there's a director out there that would have totally taken it in that direction if it was given to him.
And then an even worse director would have like shown it in detail.
Oh, probably
that's getting into like, alright, Zack Snyder would have done that, you know what I mean?
Yeah, probably not detail though, because, you know, yeah, the actors were underage, so that would have presented several legal problems. But yes, no. Me personally, there's nothing. I mean, I'm a guy. I'm a white male that was in a high school. Our sexual problems tend to be just not being too terrified to even do anything with it. So that was my high school experience for the most part. So I was never traumatized, but in spite of whether or not the viewer had any personal experiences like that, everyone can sympathize with Kayla, I think, because like nobody wants to go through that. So yeah, that was hard to watch, and I think yeah, the movie handles it with a certain amount of grace that was appreciated. Now I think the last thing that I think is important to talk about in terms of the themes that this film wants to like push onto the viewer is its dealings with kids and social media. Now, a lot of movies get this wrong. What are your thoughts, Nathan? Do you think 8th grade did it okay?
I think by it kind of digs itself into its own grave by name dropping specific social media. Purely because it's like, well, okay, now it's like, if you watch this movie 10 years down the track, we're probably not even going to be using, like, Snapchat or something like that.
I think people will remember, though.
But that kind of stuff's, like, is kind of a nitpick. But the only reason I draw to it is because during, like, the writing of the film, they actually changed. It was meant to be, like, no one uses something else, and then they changed it to, something more modern. So I just don't know why, like, you put a lot of care into that side of thing, but then, you could just, like, focus on the details.
You could do, like, an Emily is Away type of thing and just call it Face.
Yeah, just have it, like, just be, like, because it's, like, all you need to do, really, is say, like, alright, here's a social media site where you post pictures, here's one where you can take, here's one where they use for messaging each other.
Yeah, it looks like Facebook or it looks like Snapchat. Do you understand what this is? Let's just get to the point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, I mean, that, and it's, like, honestly, I think it does it pretty okay, other than, like, I don't know, I've never ever heard of anyone pretending to kiss someone while looking at, like, at a picture of them on their phone. That is, like, I've never heard of that before.
Pretending to kiss someone while they're looking at their phone. Oh, yeah, no, I've done that, dude.
Yeah, damn, you just raw dog admitted that.
Yeah, no, okay. What Nathan means...
Right about 30 minutes in. What the fuck?
What Nathan means is he's never heard of someone, like, looking at pictures of videos of kissing on the internet and then practice it on their hand, which is what Kayla
raw
does.
dog admitted to say...
I'm not ashamed of that.
Did anyone hear that?
No, dude, when I was a kid, I was curious, alright? I liked girls at a very early age, and nobody wants to fuck that up. I'll go a step further. I admit that I asked my stepmother of the time, like, how do you kiss someone? obviously, the Pornhub version of this interaction that might be going on in people's head, that didn't happen. But she said, she told me, make a lip with your thumb and your pointer finger, and that, like, that's a good way to practice. Again, I was like 10 at the time, so I think that was more just, okay, do this and never ask me that question again. So props to her for handling that situation with a certain level of grace. No, dude, there's something... Look, kids are interested in their sexual identity. Whether they, like, you know... Nobody wants to be the one kid who didn't get that book in the mail of how does sex work. Nobody wants to be the kid that doesn't know how to deal with that. So kids should know that there's no shame in the embarrassing little ways that they try to explore themselves. Because, you know, you can't just get a person to practice with. That's called a relationship. And you don't get those in high school when you look like me. Nathan, you've been quiet for a long time. Are you currently deleting me from all your socials?
No, you mentally blew my brain.
What do you mean?
I've never heard of that interaction before. Like, that was like, I don't know, maybe I'm too old for 8th grade.
Asking a parent how to kiss?
No, that never happened to me.
Well, I'm telling you, I'm definitely not the only person that's done that before. I should say it was a step-parent as well, so I feel like, like, you know...
Wow, so it's even more Pornhub tier.
Yeah, no, that's the
like,
thing.
The dominoes were lining up for the knockdown.
No, because here's the thing, where, like, I can definitely talk about what it's like to have a step-parent, because I've had 2 in my life, and while a kid doesn't necessarily want to openly discuss sex with their biological parents because there is that level of awkwardness there, you feel a certain kinship when you have a good relationship with a step-parent, so you are more willing to open up to them about that, I found. And yeah, no, she was an understanding lady, so she was quite honest with me, and I appreciated that at the time. But yes. Now, you can the internet can go ahead and make its judgments all at once about that. I have no shame in that. And I'm glad that this movie didn't have any shame in that either, because again, Kayla's not,
No, it never portrays any of that, like even like the, you know, Googling how to give a good blow, it never portrays any of that, like, it's never the butt of the joke.
There's never any judgment on the part of the film by it. Like, no. Kayla's never presented as being some kind of weirdo freak. Which is good, it's kind of, because she's not. Yeah. She's just an awkward kid. And there's nothing wrong with being an awkward kid.
I'm kind of in, like, a weird situation with this movie, where, like, it just kind of feels like I just watched a kid, like, you know, experience a day in the life, and that was kind of it. So, on the one hand, I find the movie actually kind of boring. Because it's like, yeah, cool, you portrayed someone's life, like, living in the current era. That's it. But, like, on the other hand, that's actually really impressive, because that's really hard to do. So it's worth talking about. But on the other hand, it's like, well, I lived it. Like, I don't really, like, see any reason to go into much of it. You know what I mean?
I personally disagree, even if I can understand what you're saying and where you're coming from. I feel like for a lot of people, it's important that they know that we all kind of go through the same things growing up. And I feel like this movie, it's so close to reality that I don't think, I personally at least, I didn't find it boring because I was constantly seeing comparisons to my own upbringing. And, well, I mean, I like thinking about myself, so, you know, I didn't get bored. Like, actually, you know, if one thing, I'll say this, the movie's too painful to be boring. Like, when I said that it had no right to psychologically assault me the way it did, that was only partially a joke. I had to stop watching the film every now and then, not because I was getting bored and wanted to do something else, but because it was becoming too much, and I needed to take a mental breather before continuing. Particularly that part where, like, at the pool party, I'll bring that up again, where, like, she has to step away because of, like, an awkward interaction, and she's just hanging out alone in a stranger's living living room, clutching her phone like it's her only lifeline. I've been that kid. That's that. Yeah, no, and like the film does such a good job at imitating that like I couldn't be bored. I was enamored, even if I had to step away for a second. So I understand what you're saying, but I don't agree personally.
That's fair.
Okay. No, that's the part
All
where
is
you
fair
call
in
me
critique and war.
No, that's not how this is done. That's the part where you call me some kind of slur, and then we fight, and then people take sides on the internet, and then a week later, one of us apologizes, depending on who had the least amount of, like, likes on our videos that week, and then, like, it all goes back. So that's how it's done, right?
I guess, Alright, I'm gonna hit you with the fast ones.
Okay.
Music, sound mixing, that was straight up horrible.
Oh,
straight up fucking horrible.
Okay, look, whatever issues you might have had, I didn't have. I thought the soundtrack suited the setting, and... I
have no issues about the soundtrack and music track. I'm saying purely the mixing, like purely the volume levels. That's the only thing I'm... We actually had that shit. Like, the TV was on literally, like, 1% volume, and the moment a song starts, it's like the fucking speakers got blown out. It was like, holy shit, my guy.
I mean, maybe I was just watching with headphones, so I didn't really get that too much, because I was just watching the movie, and when music started, like, my brain didn't go, oh, this isn't right. I was just listening to music.
This is like my objective critique, but like I think it's funny and I like this fact. Boomers won't get this film. This is the anti-boomer film. They will watch this film and go, nah, this isn't real.
I think boomers might not understand the film, but I still think they should go out of their way to like watch it and try to see where people of that age are coming from, because whether they like it or not, that's how kids are raised now. Like, even as early as like the kids born in the 90s. I was born in the late 90s, and I was raised on the internet. That's just how, like, some of my earliest memories of playing Club Penguin. One of my first social interactions was meeting someone on Club Penguin. And it's important that old people, especially old people who are parents or one day might want to become parents, they're going to need to, in any way that they can, educate themselves on what these interactions might look like.
Yeah, no, I agree, but at the same time, it's like, I just imagine, like, old people watching this film, and it's just like, it's gonna go, there's so many of, like, the minutiae of it, that's just gonna go over their heads, because, like, the culture is completely different.
Yeah,
but like when like a lot of them grew up.
There's definitely well, yeah, you know what? Yeah, you're right. A lot of the small things are definitely going to go over their head. So maybe this is like the first movie where instead of there needs to be an adult present to explain it to a kid. In this case, there needs to be a kid present.
The kids aren't allowed in the movie. It's R18. The kids aren't even allowed in the film.
See, that upsets me, because there's no real reason this kid should be R18. And the reason stated, is they talk about blowjobs. It's like, yeah, kids know what blowjobs are, my guy. Like, let's not kid ourselves, alright? Let's let the movie articulate, like, a healthy way for kids to deal with this forbidden knowledge. Because a terrible thing for Kayla to do would be to go out on the street and start giving them out to strangers. She doesn't do that. She gives it out to one very, very poor, I feel bad for, banana.
Okay, so, as I previously stated, I am woefully unprepared for this episode. Good on you viewers for pointing it out and picking up on it. So... This is why I have my old backup of Wikipedia to help me out here.
Oh,
because I actually have an interesting caveat based on my brief reading here.
How
do you feel of the genre of this movie being social horror?
I wouldn't say that it's a horror exactly, because... the thing about horror is that it's hard for it to come across that way if it isn't life or death. And it's definitely not life or death here. Like, yes,
No.
her social life might be on the line.
Yes, it's social life or death, hence social horror.
Maybe that is the case. Well, okay.
And then I bring up this was written by someone who works for, like, the Mississippi Independent, said that the movie feels like being drilled at the dentist.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, that makes sense to me. I was never fond of the dentist. But he was a nice guy, so I didn't hate him. Yep. He was doing
Bo Burnham,
his job.
you're such a nice guy. What movie do you want me to see?
8th grade, it's such a nice movie, and I can tell it means well, but why is it drilling my face? Yeah, no, that's an apt comparison. I like that. Yeah, no, I felt like it was constantly beating me over the head with my own childhood. That's how I would describe it. Yeah, it's especially going to, like, click for anybody that did upload things to the internet as they were growing up, as I did. I made that one now notorious amongst my friends video that I still get sent every once in a while for the sake of a joke. So yeah, if you did that, there's that extra level of connection there. Yeah. Is there any, like, other... It was... Okay, just to end off, is there any, like, other, like, scenes that you liked or wanted to talk about briefly, or...
I actually kind of wish, like, the movie's runtime is... It's, like, an hour and a half.
It's an hour and a half, yeah. It's a very movie-length movie, yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't really need any more. But, like, I appreciated that, when it came to, like, the high schoolers, you had that one girl that had feminist as, like, a necklace. I wanted to see more of that character. She looked fun.
Yeah, okay.
Let's see more of her.
I don't remember who that was. I guess I missed that necklace. But, yeah, I agree. That does sound fun. There was one more small point that I wanted to make that was just a little thing, but I appreciated it, was that I like that the movie ends with Kayla having two positive, one male and one female relationship in her life. I think that's important. That, like, especially given the, let's just call it what it is.
Actually, her age as well.
Yeah, that's nice as well. Which is especially nice given that, like, there is a sexual assault in the movie, but I think it's important that people can, people are showing that you can still, have healthy relationships with males, in spite of any previous trauma. Yeah, Gabe's awkward like her, and, like, yeah, their friendship strikes me as both apt, believable,
genuine,
yeah, and that was a cute scene as well. I liked that he asked her about the sources, because that was polite. I wouldn't have thought
truly a prince among garbage.
I mean, that's a thing. You can't really blame high school or primary school students for being terrible. Like, that's why they're in school, to learn how to stop being so terrible. Yeah, so that was 8th grade. I definitely recommend it to everyone, but just keep in mind that it will hurt you for watching it. But you should definitely...
If you had a childhood, it's probably gonna do a little bit of damage.
If you came out the vat, like, 18 right off the bat, you probably aren't gonna get a lot of this movie, but, like,
maybe there'll be a movie for you, Test Tube.
Test Tube, baby. Alright, well,
yeah,
thanks for watching. Final closing thoughts, Nathan?
Yeah, you know what? Despite I think I kind of came off a little bit a little bit anti that movie, but honestly, like, that's the kind of the thing about it though. Like, this is like the first kind of movie or I've sat down and watched and went, like, it feels like it feels like a lost footage film, but, like, it was actually real. Like, it feels bordering on documentary.
Yeah, no, I see what you mean. If it's at least in recent memory, it's a movie that strikes me as being actually important. There's a lot of movies that try to be important. This movie isn't trying to be important, and yet it is, because it does come across so genuinely, and that's important. You need more of that in cinema.
Just, like, ridiculously grounded.
So yeah, cheers for watching. Subscribe, like, and do all that shit, please. Thank you. Yes. I
don't know what that means, but I'm gonna say it.
Okay. This has been Cobra and Nathan. Goodbye. Gucci.
Goodbye.
Gucci.